we move on to Paul Moulton from Isle of Man Television. Good afternoon, Paul. Fast am I.
Good afternoon. For Mr Ashford, and back to these vaccines and the vials that have been left over, you can give us all that sort of science about other countries and how much is left over, but let's just get down to real business here. This is the Isle of Man. 15 people right now could have had that first dose, and even if you had to go out onto the streets, people would have bitten your hand off to have that. Have you put procedures in place so it can't happen again?
Paul, there will always be vaccine waste. I'm not going to sit here and lie to people. In any vaccination programme, there will always be vaccine waste. I've just laid out how it works. I mean, like I say, the World Health Organization, and this is in jurisdictions small and large, Paul, so we're not talking just large countries. I use the Canada example because they're being hailed for the way they've dealt with waste. But you will always end up with it. You can't just pick people up off the street. We've got to have a clinical process. We've got to know people's medical history to know whether the vaccine is suitable for them. We have a call list to allow people to come forward. So people who are already registered, already have a slot, they have indicated to 111 they can be called at short notice, and we call that down. So like I say, I think context is important, because the way it was going around social media, it was as if we had all these vaccines being wasted left, right and centre. It is equivalent of one dose roughly every 3 days in the vaccine programme, if you actually work it out, 0.15%. An ordinary vaccine programme would see waste of roughly around about 5%. So I think the work the team have done to actually pull people forward and fill slots, I actually think is astronomical, because they've been able to buck the trend that you would normally see with vaccination programmes.
Okay, is it because people aren't turning up, or you are getting the extra dosage out and you don't know that until you literally got that last bit left over, which I think people understand that one? Or has there been quite a failure on people turning up or not wanting to go ahead or something?
Yeah, for various reasons, you will always end up with no-shows, people who are ill. You even get people who sometimes will forget appointments. So there will always be no-shows. And wherever possible, like I say, we've got this call list that we go to, and that was included in the Timwood answer, but seems to have been missed off the piece that several people have put out on social media. We do have that call list to go to. We call people up and we've been filling the slots. If we hadn't been doing that, the wastage would be an awful lot higher than what we're saying. But like I say, context is important. It's 0.15% of the actual vaccines delivered into people's arms. In the flu jab period, you would expect to see between 1 and 6% wastage, is what the World Health Organization says in those sort of immunisation programs. And Alberta in Canada, which is being held up as a shining star as to why you use mass vaccination hubs to push people through, because you get a quicker throughput and less waste, is recording 0.3%. They're being hailed for their vaccine waste. Our vaccine waste is half of theirs.
Okay, you can put me on the list, by the way, if you want to ring me at any time. To the Chief Minister.
When you reach your age group, Paul, and you've got your invite letter, if you let 111 know at the time of booking that you are available to be called at short notice, then they will put you on the list.
Fantastic. To the Chief Minister, you're talking about the social media and the hairs that are running. Clearly, these press conferences are the point of contact each day, but there's two things here. Either you move to a format that actually will work better. 2 questions maybe not enough. In Guernsey, when they do press conferences, they just ask questions until they finish. Like we did, we started this that way. So you're restricting us in itself. And we both, I think all journalists get lots of questions from the public. I do, and I'm sure others do. So there's that, but also, could you not put somebody onto social media? Their job is to stop these rumours before they get out of hand.
Well, we do put messages out to people. I mean, let's go back to your first question, Paul, about wastage. It seems absolutely bizarre to me that we have one of the best records in the world, if not the best in the world, when it comes to wastage, and we've still got people trying to sensationalise and say that we're throwing away vials. It beggars belief that people could twist this sort of story into something as serious as and then it goes around social media that the Isle of Man is throwing away loads of vials. It's so disappointing, and that's why we're asking people to say, look, don't go spreading stuff if you don't know that to be true. Then don't go saying it. the number of questions that we give to all the media, I've had an awful lot of people say that the minute it goes to questions, they switch off, that they've had enough. You may not like that, but that's the feedback I get. So,
well, the feedback I get is the opposite, actually, and I think it's really important that we get a question.
Briefing, and 7 of your colleagues have asked 14 questions, then you're going to really struggle to think of a sensible question that's factually correct. And then you're not going online and saying, well, Joe Bloggs has said this and Joe Bloggs is factually incorrect. I mean, the other day we had one of the media saying that 75% attendance at a primary school in Peel. So I went away and checked, it was 96% attendance. The facts were totally wrong. So we have to, I think 16 questions is more than adequate for you to get the frequently asked questions that people need to say. But you're quite right, if there is a way of getting out frequently asked questions out to the media, then that's what we try and do with our social media. And I do believe that on our website we have frequently asked questions and the answers for people to go online and have a look at. But it's been really disappointing that people should try and spin that the government and our hard-working team, who are doing an outstanding job with the vaccination programme, are wasting vials when they've got one of the best records in the world. So a bit bizarre, Paul.
Okay, but I disagree that I think lots of people do listen to the questions because it's their questions that most of us are asking. So you'll hear one thing, but this is such an important point of contact for most people to have reassurance from you. Because let's face it, we're not in the right place at the moment, and the Guernsey model shows that we are going to go up for some time, as you said already, which could lead to a much longer lockdown than 3 weeks.
Absolutely, and that's why we've had press briefings Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Paul, to answer these questions. But equally, we are trying to communicate as best as we can with the public, and it's not just the question time that we do. We're regularly going out and doing press releases to let the people know of various situations in between the conferences. And equally, I know some people get press briefings out. They don't want them every day. They just want to, when we've got something big to say, that they want in the conferences. But I'd like to bring David in, who I think wants to add to that.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Chief Minister. And it's not just the press briefings where we engage with the media and the wider public. I hope you'd accept, Paul, that, for instance, I myself do quite a long-form interview with you once a week. Yeah. We did that. Was it? I lose track of days. I think it was yesterday. We did it yesterday afternoon, and we're due to do another one on Sunday where there's multiple questions asked. You can drill down into information. When we started to see problems the other night, I immediately went live onto Manx Radio Update and then did a longer form interview for Manx Radio. So as a government, we are going out there, we are communicating in different ways. So press briefing format isn't the only way to get questions asked and questions answered. I think, we have other ways of engaging, and we do that, and hopefully you will accept, Paul. I'm never afraid of going out and answering questions. We did a session yesterday, we'll be doing another session on Sunday.
Thank you, David. Yes, I'll see you Sunday. Thank you very much.